The world as we know it has ended. You are the last person on earth known as the Queen. Your last decree is to build a garden that you remember from your youth. Only problem is there's little water left on the planet. So along your journeys you gathered these robots called robotanists and reprogrammed them to gather metal and gems to create the garden of your remembrance. Today in store we have The Last Garden. If you want to support BGG, go to their website and become a user. Or you could go to the Board Game Geek YouTube website and like their video. Click subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell notification button. Or you could go to the Board Game Geek Store, where you'll find board games, promos, accessories, and more. Okay, the first thing to do to set up The Last Garden is to place the board within easy reach of everybody. And then we are going to take these sector dice. Okay, as you can see there are 6 dice and there are 6 sectors on the board. Each sector has a die with a number of pips showing on it in towards the center of each sector. Okay, we're going to place 1 die on each of these sector die spaces according to the symbol on the board. Next we will take 2 of each gems of each color. Okay, so 6 gems, 2 of each color, and we will randomly place them in one of the sectors on the board. Whoops, this one will go here. Okay, putting any extra gems off to the side. Next we have these double-sided favor tokens, the Queen's favor tokens. They come in values of 1, 3, 5, and 10. Okay, we will take those, place them face up in a pile or numerous piles, depending on how neat or sloppy you want to be. It's your game. What do I care? Do what you want to do. Next, we will take the 3 bonus tiles and put them up here in the lab space. Then we will take the Last Garden token and the 1000 XP token, place it near the board in case you forget the name of the board game that you are playing, along with the publisher and the designers. Next, give each player a player board and a number of robotanists, depending on the player count, of their color of choice. Okay? In a 2 and 3 player game, each player will get 4 robotanists. In a 4 player game, each player will get 3 robotanists. And again, according to the number of robotanists you get, place them on your board. Place any unused robotanist player boards along with the XP and the Last Garden tile in the bag that came with the Kickstarter and set it aside. Next, shuffle the 18 program cards for your robotanist and give each player a number of cards depending on the player count. In a 2-player game, it will be 5 cards. In a 3-player game, it will be 5 cards. In a 4-player game, it will be 4 cards. Okay, so we give each player the appropriate number of cards, and then we make a pile for the rest near the board, along with a discard pile next to it. Okay, so basically every player should have 5 cards and 4 robotanists if it's a 2 or 3 player game. But if it's a 4 player game, you should have 4 cards and 3 robotanists. Final part of setup is to determine who the first player is. You could do this however you want. The rulebook does not suggest. I suggest a gladiatorial fight to the death. Whoever champion wins, that player goes first, and they get this lovely prize, the Queen token. And that is it. You are ready to play The Last Garden. Okay guys, The Last Garden is a 2 to 4 player worker placement bidding area control-ish game that takes place over 3 or 4 rounds depending on the player count. Okay, and the object of the game is to get the most of the Queen's favor at the end of these 3 or 4 rounds, again depending on the player count. Now each round is broken up into 4 stages. We have the garden stage, which is where most of the actions will take place. Then we have the release the robotanist stage, which will happen in this space here. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Followed by the Queen's favor stage, which is here. And that'll dictate how many points we get for different effects on the board. And the final stage of the round is the end of the round stage, where we basically clean up past the first player marker and so on. Okay, so let's get into the first stage, the gardening stage. During the build the garden stage, a player has two things to do. They must play one of their Robotanist program cards and then place one of their Robotanists. Okay, and the number of the Robotanists and their cards that each player gets depends on the player count. For a 2 and 3 player, each player will get 4 Robotanists and 5 cards. For a 4 player game, you would subtract 1 Robotanist and 1 card, so each player would get 3 Robotanists, 4 cards. Okay, and for a 2 player game, each player will be the first player twice. For a 3 player game and a 4 player game, each player will be the first player once. Okay, so let's get back to these cards. If we look at them, there's 3 basic cards here. We have the move card, the spin card, and the place card. And if you see up top here in the left corner, we have a die symbol, which corresponds to the sector die. Down here we have a symbol for what the card does. Okay, in this case it's move. And as you can see up here with our bonus tiles, it corresponds to some of these signals. Again, the same with the spin and place. The symbols correspond up there. Alright, and then down here we have symbols telling us what these cards do. Okay, so the place one says we could take the sector 5 and take 1 gem from that sector and move it to any sector we choose. Okay, so say I want to play it on the sector 3. The spin card allows us to take the sector die, in this case the 5 here, and move that value up or down 1 pip. So I could take it from a 5 to a 4, or I could go from a 5 to a 6. If you had a 1 sector die, okay, that would go down to a 6 or up to a 2, depending on which one you want it to do. And the final Robotanist card, the program card here, is the place, which means we take 1 gem of any color from the supply and place that in the sector of that die. Okay, so place a 4 there. Now these can be combined with the bonus tiles, and we'll get into them in a few minutes. And you would do that at this time. You would play the bonus tile with the card you choose. Now, if you get into a situation like this where you want to play a card that is not on the board, okay, so I want to place a gem on the 4 sector, but there is no 4 sector die out there. In this case, it's a wild card. We could choose any sector we want, and we would continue the rules and place 1 gem in that sector. So say, I'm going to say 2 here. Then we would discard that card and place our Robotanist. Okay, now the options for the Robotanist are 1 up here in the lab. Okay, if we place our Robotanist in the lab, we can collect one of these 3 bonus tiles, which, as I mentioned before, can be combined with any program card and produce a special effect. Okay, in this case, instead of moving 1 gem from 1 sector, we can move 2 gems from 1 sector, or we could place 2 gems from 1 sector. This guy here would allow us to take 1 gem from multiple sectors. Okay, say again we want to move them, and we could place them in any sector we choose, as long as it is the same sector that we're placing them in. We cannot take them from 2 different sectors and place them in 2 different sectors. Got to be placed in the same sector. Okay, and this also applies with the place. In that case, we take 2 gems from the supply and place them in the 5 sector. In this case, there isn't one. We'd use a wild. We would say it's the 6. Now this guy here, this allows you to take any program card and change it into any other program card that you choose to. Okay, so in this case, it's a 5 move. I don't want to move it, so I want to place a gem. I could use this and place a gem of my choice into a section with a 5. Again, wild, we'll put it here. Now these can be held from round to round, but once they are used, you must place them back in the appropriate spot. Okay, and you can only have one of these per player. Another option a botanist can take is to bet on the queen's favor here. Okay, as we can see here in the workshop, we have 3 different rows. The first 2 will gain points if you have the majority or the second majority in the garden sections. Okay, see, they're number 1, 2, 3 up to 6, same as the sector dice. All right, the bottom one here is for wilting. Okay, what happens in wilting is anytime that there are 6 or more gems on a space, 2, 4, 6, this will happen at the queen's favor stage. It's the first one that happens before we go up into this other section here. But if there are 6 or more gems on a space, they will disappear, they will go away. And if you happen to be on the space in the spot where you could collect points for that, you will get 3 points. Alternatively, we could go up here and we will get 1 point for each gem in the sector number that we are in. So there's multiple 6s here. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points because there are 2 6s with 5 gems in each. We could go here if we wanted to and piggyback off of a player collecting points there. In that case, we would get 1 point for every 2 gems rounded up and divided by 2. We'll get into that in the queen's favor round. All right, don't want to get too much involved until you see how it works. Next, we could take one of our robotanists and place it up here in the mines. And basically what we're doing in the mines is we're betting on who will have the most colored gems out there, okay? Throughout the whole garden, all 6 sectors. All right, so purple player here is betting that red's going to win out. Later on, say the blue players thinks blue's going to win out. We'll go there, try and out bet to see who will get the majority of the gem color. Okay, and then when that happens, first player gets 5 points, then 3 to 1 points. We'll get to that later on. Next location we can take is out here in the garden itself. We can claim one section of a garden, one sector, and claim points for that at the end of the round. Okay, the only rule to that is it has to be an unoccupied sector. No other robotanist can be in that sector. So say I want to go to this 2 sector, I can't. The blue player's there. I have to go somewhere else. So I go to the 6 sector there. Now the final action is only for the first player, and this can be taken at any time during the round, during their turn. We would take the first player marker here and flip it over, showing that we're using that action, and then we would take a gem of any color of our choice and place it somewhere on the board. That would make sense because the purple player is the first player. Now we get into the second stage of the round, which is we recall our robotanist. So going from left to right, players will recall the robotanist from the lab here, and they could choose to place it on any worker spot that they choose to. Okay, so here, let's say I'm going to try and get some points. Go there. Okay, blue player changes his mind. He's going to try and get the majority for 2. There's some points there. Third step is the queen's favor. In this case, we go down here to the workshop. As I said before, with wilting, if a sector on the board has 6 or more gems on it, they are taken away and put it off the board. Now, if you had a robotanist out there on the spot, the sector that the wilting took place, in this case it was a 6, you would gain 3 favors. From the queen, take them favors, place them face down in front of you. Next, we have the queen's favor for this first row. It's basically a 1-for-1. 1 point for every gem in the sector that matches the sector die. So in this case, we have the blue player here with 2. There's a 2 spot here, 2 spot here. He get 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Okay, you take them, place them face down in front of them. And then we'll move over to the next player. We got the 6 here for the pink player. There's none here, but there are 2 here. They would get 2 points. Now, as we see, the blue player is down on the next row. And basically that means for every 2 gems, you get 1 point. Round it up and divide by 2. Sounds confusing, but it's not. So let's say we're going to use this 6 here. Okay, there's 3 gems in the 6 sectors. 2 here, 2 here. We round that up to 4 and then divide that by 2, and that's what we get, 2 points. Next we go to the gardens. For every row botanist in a space that has a gem, you get 1 point for that gem. So here we have a row botanist. Pink player gets 1 gem, or purple, not really sure what that is. So they get 1 point. Blue player here has 3 gems in their sector, they would get 3 points. Up top here we have the mines, and that's basically whoever has the most of one colored gem in the entire garden. Alright, so we have to count up the reds. Red is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the pink player betted on red, they have 5. Blue player betted on blue, they have 3. The pink player will win 5 points. And then second place we get 3 points. Third place, if there was a third player, we get 1 point. So on. Okay, that is the end of the Queen's Favor stage. Final stage of the game is the end of the round stage, and that's simply we will shuffle the cards back up, deal out the number of cards appropriate for the number of players. The Queen's Favor token will go over to the first player. Any tokens, any bonus tokens that you have taken will stay with you until you use them and replace them on the board. Next, you would take back all of your row botanists, place them on your player boards, and finally, and most importantly, the garden does not change. Okay, we do not reset the gems or the sector dice. This stays the same. All right, that's the most important rule that people may forget. But regardless, goes to another round. This continues until the end of the game, in which players count up all of the Queen's Favor that they had taken. Whoever has the highest wins the game. So that's how you play The Last Garden. Stay tuned for the gameplay. Alright guys, today in store we have The Last Garden. Last Garden is a betting worker placement area control game, sort of area control kind of, in which we are trying to get the most Queen's Favor at the end of the game, which will be in our case a 2-player game, 4 rounds, and a 3-player game would be 3 rounds rather, and a 4-player game would be 4 rounds. All right, now there's 4 stages to the game. We will tend to the garden, which is where most of the action takes place. In this stage, we will place a card, okay, for our garden here, and then place a row botanist in one of the sections of the board. We'll get into it in a couple seconds. Followed by recalling our row botanist from the lab, and then we could place them again somewhere on the board other than the lab. All right, and the final, nope, not the final. The third section is, the third phase is to do the Queen's Favor here, which mainly takes place on the board here, but also in the garden and up here on the mines. We'll get into it. Final one is the round end up, basically, where we'll give the first player marker over to the next player, shuffle the cards up, and deal them out again, and stuff like that. All right. So, Jen will be the pink row botanist here. I will be the blue row botanist. I have some row botanists up here to help me keep track of the round. Jen will be the first player. There are basically 3 types of cards in the game. And there we go, we got 5. Okay, there's 3 types of cards in the game. We have place, move, or spin. As you can see up here in the top left here, they correspond with a die value in the garden there. Place would be you take 1 gem from the supply and place it in the sector, in this case a 1. Move would be moving a gem from a sector to any place we wanted to. And then spin would be to move a die up or down 1 pip. Okay, in the case of a 1, it would move down to a 6 and then up to a 2. And same with the 6, instead of going up, it would go up to a 1 or down to a 5. Now, the queen's favor allows her to place a gem also. Okay, not the queen's favor, I'm sorry, the queen's token, first player token. So, that knowing that she could do that, what she's going to do, her first move is, let's see, she could spin the 1. I ain't going to help her. Spin the 2 down to 1. Alright, so she could build up. She could build up the 1 here. Yeah, I think that's what she's going to do. She's going to build up the 1. So, let's see. Her first thing she's going to do is she's going to place on the 5. Just give her some options. But like I said, eventually she's going to build up on the 1. So she's going to place one of these gems from the supply onto the board. And if she had this bonus tile here, she could place 2 gems instead of 1, or move 2 gems instead of 1. Okay, but we're going to place it on 5. Okay, now she places one of her robotnists, and she could go here and say, hey, I'm going to build up the 5s, but as we know, she's going to go for the 1s. The 5 is just a comfort thing. Alright, so what she's going to do is she's going to go up here and grab said bonus. And then use it a little bit later. Goes over to me. Let's see what I have. Let me see. I got a bunch of moves and 2 places. So, let's see. Move 3, move 2, place 2, place 3, move 3, move 5. Okay, so I'm going to build up the 2 or the 3. I want to say I'm going to build up the 3. So, first thing I'm going to do is move one of these 5s. Nah, that would seem a little mean right off the bat. I'm going to build up the 3. I'm going to move a 2. Okay, so I place that. I move it from here to here. And again, if I had this, I could have moved 2 gems instead of 1. Alright, but I didn't. So now it's my turn to place. And let me see. Like I said, I'm going to claim the 3s. Okay, Jen kind of knows my strategy now. Goes back to Jen. Alright, so I'm going to move the 4 and put it up into the 1. Okay, and then I'm going to place a robotness. Right now, red is in the lead for the overall. Do I want to get my strategy out yet? I mean, yeah, I might as well. Alright, I'm going to claim the 1s. Go back to me. Okay, so I can either move or place. That's all I can do. What did I say? I was going for the 3s. So I'm going to place. No, I'm going to move a 5 like I was going to originally. I just don't want to be mean right out the gate. All right, so I'm going to move the 5 over to the 3. There we go. Then I place one of my my meeples here, my robotnist. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm going to say that there's going to be more reds out in the game. All right. Right now I'm only ahead by 1, but I'm going to predict that later on there's going to be more reds. Try and get 5 points. Back to Jen. So Jen. So she's going to. You know what? She's going to spin the 2. 2 of 1. That way, they're not crowded on one spot. For wilting, I don't think there would be in that case anyway, but just in case. All right, so she will go up here, and let me see. She's going to try and split my points. All right, so even if I do get the majority of the 3, she'll get at least half of that, depending on the math, but most likely half of that. Okay. Back to Jen. Well, over to me, rather. I'm going to place a gem on the 3, but this is a 2. There's no 2 sector or die anymore, so this is now a wild card. I'm going to place a gem of my choosing. Since I'm aiming for red, it's going to be red on 3. Alright, so now I want to be the last player out. Alright, and there's only 2 players, so Jen cannot have another bonus tile, so I'm going to grab that second one, and this guarantees that I can place him last. Alright, and I think it doesn't affect me this round, so I wouldn't use either bonus this round anyway. I don't think. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense. I'd place it on 3 to move it. Wouldn't make sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this one. I'll grab this one for the next round. Back to Jen. Last turn. So she's going to obviously place on 1 because that's what she's shooting for, and she knows red's in the lead, so that doesn't matter. All right, so she's going to grab a blue one, and she also has the queen's tile here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip that over and use it. I'm also going to throw another blue out here. That does not give me enough for it, does it? It doesn't. Now I could... I'm going to go for the majority here. Right now it's tied. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this with the place and throw out another blue tile on the 1. Blue gem on the 1. Yeah, that's good. All right. Back to me. My last move is to place on a 3. And of course it's going to be a red. And I got very close to wilting. What Jen could have done is decided to go here and wilted on me. It made me wilt. And then I lose everything. But since she's got, stakes in the game, she decided not to do that. So that's what I did. I placed there. The last thing we'll do is actually claim that spot. So I have some extra points here. All right. So that is the end of the 10 of the garden. We go to recalling our robotinist here from the lab in order from left to right. So Jen would go first. And since I already claimed this spot, she's going to go here, which has 3 gems, get to the next most spots, most points. Goes back to me. I will take my last robotinist, and I could split Jen's points. Let me see, what would that be? It's 1 point for every 2 gems, rounded up, divided by 2. So this would give me 2 points if I split the difference with her there. Am I going to get any other? Nah. Yeah, so it's basically that. Oh, plus this one. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to split the points. Now, that's the end of recalling the robotinist. We go in the queen's favor. We would start off on the wilting. There's no wilting there, so we'll move on. Then we will go over here to the lab, the first row of the workshop. We'll start off with Jen here. All right, she said 1s. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She gets 5 points. Give that face down into her stockpile here. Okay, and then I'm going to flip that over to show I used it. Actually, I'm just going to take them back. I think I said take them back at the end. You can do it with however you're comfortable with. All right, now we'll go over to me up here at the 3 sector. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that is the only 3 sector out there, so 5 points for me. Okay. Then we go down to the next one, and like I said, that is 1 point for every 2 gems. So on the 1, I split that with Jen, and like I said, she had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rounded up, divided by 2 is 3. Okay. Over to Jen on the 3, there's 5 there. Rounded up, divided by 2 is 3. Give her 3 points. Next we go up to the mines here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there's a tie. Oh, I gotta check the rules on this. Okay. It's the first time I ran into that. Okay, so if there's a tie, and I don't remember if I put that in the Gameplay. I'll have to look back into that. If there was a tie, we'd add up the 2 and then divide them by 2. And each player would get that point. Okay, so we'd add first and second places up. That would equal 8 divided by 2 is 4. Each player will get 4. Normally, what would happen is the first player would get 5 points, and the runner-up would get 1 point. Was that a 3 or a 1? That was a 3. I'm sorry, the second player would get 3 points. All right, but that's not happened. We had a tie, so they go back. Now we do the garden itself. Jen gets 3 points for the 1 sector. I'll just give her a 3 token for this one here, and then I get 5 points for this one here. Okay, now go to the final stage, which is the cleanup. Okay, first player marker goes over to the next player. We shuffle up the cards and deal out new ones. And remember that this does not change, okay? The sector dice do not get reset, nor do the gems. And these are held from round to round, if you choose to. Okay, so it's back to me. I am the first player. Let's see. I have a move 2 and 5, and then I have a place 2 and 6, and a spin 1. The 6. I think I'm going to build up the 6 because I got a place card. I could spin that 1 and 2 with the 6. I can move from the 5 to the 6. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give out my strategy pretty early in this round, and I'm going to go for a 6 right away. Okay. So I could move 5. Now, if there was multiple 5s and 6s out there, I could, I can move from 1 5 to multiple 6 locations. Okay. But there's not multiple 5s out there. All right, so I'm going to move from the 5 to the 6. Like I said, I'm going to say, yeah, I want the 6s. Goes over to Jen. Let's see what Jen has. Jen has a bunch of spins and 2 places. This is not going to be a good hand for her, I don't think. All right, a place 1 and 5, and then a spin 2, 4, and 5. So obviously she's going to try and build up the 5s, I guess. I think that's what she's going to do. All right. She's going to spin the 4. She's going to spin the 5, rather. Okay, to give her a wild on the 5 here. And she's going to shoot for the 1. All right. Sounds convoluted. All right, so she's going to spin the 5 to a 4 because Jen's going for 6. So we're definitely not going to do that. All right, then she's going to place her meeple. She doesn't give out her strategy quite yet, I don't think. So she's going to gamble on the dice, on the mine here. Nah, you know what? She's going to grab this because she's going to need a place a bunch. She doesn't have much variety of moves here. All right, so over to me. Okay. See, I was going for the 6, right? Yes, I was going for the 6. All right, so I'm going to use this place 2. Okay, as you can see, there is no 2 sector. I just knocked the 4s all over the place, but there is no 2 sectors, so it's a wild card, and she will place it on the 6 instead. And I will place it, rather. I'm mean this time, not her. Alright, I'm going to grab a blue one here, place it on the 6, and then I'm going to grab my robotanist here, place it on the blue. I'm betting the blue is going to be more of this game. Gotta keep track of it this round. Alright, goes over to Jen. Yeah, that's what she's going to do. She's going to place the 5 on the 1 because there is no 5 out there. It's a wild. But she's going to use her ability there that she just grabbed and place 2 instead of 1, and she's going to place 2 red there on the 1. Okay, be careful. She's trying not to bust them. All right, place the tile back. That goes back. Place her out here. She is going to go for 1s now. All right. I wasn't going to make it obvious. I was actually going to go for the mines. I might do that anyway. We'll see. goes over to me. I'm going to play the move 2 with this ability here, okay? And since there is no 2, I'm going to say it is from a wild card, so it's these 2 sectors, the 1 sectors, okay? So, just place them. I take 1 from here, and I'm going to place them both on 6. Okay, now I couldn't take 1 from here, and then place it on, like if there was a second 6, I couldn't place it on the other 6. Okay, or say I wanted to place them on the 4s, I couldn't place it on 1 4 and the other. They have to go to the same ending location. Okay, same with if you had placed, okay, you would place both of the gems in the one location. Alright, I kind of screwed her up a little bit. Alright, so what do I want to do here? I want to place the meeple. Could split the 1s with her. Might do that. Yeah, back up. Never hurts. Alright, over to Jen rather. Alright, Jen doesn't have much. Spin that 2, use it as a while. Alright, so she's going to place a red on the 1. We're going to go here, and then she's going to go up to the mines, betting on the red gems being the majority there. All right, back to me, my last placement, my last movement here. All right, so I don't want to place on 6 because that'll bust it. Or no, is it worth more points? No, it won't be. I could come down here and own the wilting effect. So I think what I'm going to do instead is spin the 6, the 1 to a 6. And, you know, I'm going to do it on this one because I'm me. I'm going to do it on this one because I want the majority. That doesn't matter there. But, there we go. I'm going to spin the 1 to a 6. And then I am going to go up here for a bonus. And I'll grab the 2. Okay. Now, I do have this last one here, which I'm going to use, and I'm going to use the queen symbol, queen token, placing her face down, placing a red gem. Goes back to Jen. Sorry, no, I don't want to do that. I want to place a blue gem. Blue gem. That's me, not Jen. All right, back to me. Back to Jen. I'm so confused. All right. We're going to spin the 2 because there's no 2 out there, so it's a wild. I'm going to spin the 6 back to a 1. Yeah, I'm going to spin the 6 back to a 1. So I get my points. All about the points. All right. Now, where do I want to place my last guy here? 2, 4, 5. 2 for 5. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Well, I'm going to go again anyway. So, do I want to split the 6 points? Yeah, I might as well. Let me see. 5, 3. No, I'm going to grab the points. Alright, so that's what I'm going to do there. Now we go up to the Robotnik stage here. This guy here, I'm going to go here. I'll grab the other 5 points. And then, fortunately, this is me, so I will... yeah, I'll just grab 4 points there. Alright. That's the end of that stage. We go on to the Queen's favor. Okay, starting off with the 1s. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. Then we have me with the 6 pointers. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 6th sector. Down to the next row. Again, there was no wilting, so I didn't even bother going to it. Down to the next row. 2 points. 1 point for every 2 gems in the 1s. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Rounded up would be 8 divided by 2 is 4. We go to the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for this one here. And we got 5 for the 6th sector here. Finally, the mines. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So red one gets 5 points. Blue would get 3 points. And oh, I missed one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blue gets additional 5 points because I didn't see him out on the garden. All right, that's the end of the round. We take this off for the last one. This off for this round. Queen's player go over. The queen token goes over. I keep calling it the queen's favor. And we give 5 more cards out. Okay, I changed out some of the queen's favor tokens there while off camera. You know, 2 5s for a 10 and stuff like that. All right, let's see where we're at. Jen's up first. Ooh, she's got a lot of place cards. Place 1, 3, 4, 6. 1, 3, 4, and 6, and then she could spin 6. I'll place on the 1. I'm going to hold off on the 6 because I might actually go for the bust on that, you know. So I'll place 1. All right, and let me see here. We're running out of the red gems. It's 3 and 4. You know, there's 4 and 4. Why does that matter? Because I think I'm going to go up here. All right, so since I got the queen's favor, I know I can do it. So I'm going to place on a 1. I'm going to place it here. Keep it from busting. Then I'm going to claim it on the mine. I didn't claim it here yet because I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I don't know if I want to bust that 6 or not. All right, so over to me, the blue player, me. I got a place 5. Move, or a spin rather, 2 or 3, or a move 3 or 4. 3 or 4. Move. Place on 5. There is no 5, so that's a wild card. Yay. I could spin the 3 to a 4. That could give me a bunch of points. So I can only place on this one. So I'm probably going to use this. Alright, you know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. There is no 5, so I'm going to use it a while. I'm going to place on the 4, I'm going to place 2. Since Jen claimed that, I'm going to throw these 2 on there. Okay, and then I'm going to go for the 4. Yeah, I'm going to go for a bonus. Alright, so, let's see. I'm going to take this one here. Back to Jen. Let's see, Jen. There's a bunch of place and 1 spin, unfortunately. Yeah, she'll do this. She's going to spin the 6 to a 1. And then claim the 1 on the top sector. Okay? Goes over to me. Alright. I'm going to move from the 3 into the 4 over here. This is going to come in later on. I just don't remember how. Yeah, I don't remember. All right, so, and I am going to, I'm going to claim the 4s right now. Just so I can get it. I'm going to spin this 3 to a 4 later on. I'm going to use the wild. All right. I think. Okay, goes over to Jen. There is no 6 out there. And there's a 4 or 3. I can see, claim the 3. So I think I'll place on the 3. Whoops. And of course, it will be a red one. And then I will take my guy out. I'm going to claim the 3s, I think. Okay, goes back to me. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Alright, I'm going to use the move 4. Oh, do I really want to do that, though? Do I want to cannibalize that point? Nah. What I was going to do is I was going to use this with the move 4. And then put them all in the 3. And bust it. You know what? I'm going to do that. Yeah, might as well. Alright, I'm going to do that. I'm going to play the move 4 with that. I'll take one from here and one from here. And I'm going to say that the 3s are busting. Okay, Jen didn't like that. Going back to Jen. All right. Okay, so I can place 4 or 6. I won't place 4. He's looking for that. So I'm going to use the 6 as a wild. There is no 6 out there. I am going to place a red gem out on, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll place it out here. Okay, for my last action, I'm going to take let me see, that's 3 points. This will be flexible. I'm going to go there. And I'm also going to use the queen token and place 1 more. And I'm going to go here. Back to me. I'm going to use a spin as a wild because there is no 2s out here. I'm going to spin. They all have 5. I'm going to spin this one with 2. Okay, and then I'm going to come here. Boom. Okay, now that's the end of the round. Or the end of that phase. We go into calling the robotanist back. This guy here. Let me see. I'll go here. Okay, over to Jen. Jen will go here. Either way, it's 5. Right? I could go for second try. I could get more points that way. Alright, on to the Queen's favor. Okay, as we can see here, the 3s have wilted. So we take these guys away. I get 3 points. And place my meeple back. Okay. Now we go up here. Sector 1. So we got 1, 2 here. And sector 1. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 points. Sector 2. We have 5 points. Okay. Sector 3. We have 0 points because it wilted there. Okay. And sector 4. We have 1 point. Okay. Go over here. We have 5 points for sector 1 here. We have 5 points for sector 2 here. And then being that red is up there, we get 5 points. Alright, end of the round. Remember to take the meatball first. Okay, this goes over, and we shuffle and deal. Let's see what I got here. I have spin 2 and 5, place 1 and 4, and move 4. Yeah, you know, I'm going to do that. One of these is going to bust. So I'm going to place a 5, place 1 on the 1 space here. Yeah. Okay, and I'm going to bet that's going to wilt. Okay, goes over to me, or over to Jen. Jen, let's see what Jen has. She has spin 3, 4, place 6. Move 2, move 6. Place 6. There is no 6. I will place the 6. And being that there is no 6 out there, it's a wild, so I will place I'll place on a 4. Alright. So I could spin a 4 later on. Then move a 6. Use it as well. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go for that. I'm gonna go for 4s this round, okay? And I might as well just throw it out there right now. I'm gonna go up here, grab the special tile there over to me, and see what I'm gonna do. I am going to move place on 4. Yeah, both going for 4s there, huh? I didn't notice. Spin 5. There's no 5. You know what? That's what I'll do. I will place on a 4. And I will go with the green one on a 4. Oh, that's not a green one. Blue one, rather. On a 4. Placing my meeple. And I'm going to claim the 4s. Alright, just trying to be safe here. Alright, goes over to Jen. Let's see what this Jen want to do. He's kind of helping me out. I don't know what he's up to, though. Barry's a sneaky one. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Alright. I'm going to play this move 2 card. Along with the special die here. I'm going to take 2. And I'm going to place them right next door on the 3s. Okay. And then I'm going to claim the 3s. Okay. Goes over to me. Over to me. What am I going to do? I got spin, move, and spin. What was I going to do? I could spin. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that. I want to spin that 2 to a 1. I'm going to claim the 1s. Okay, so back to Jen. Let me see. Jen has a spin 3, spin 4, move 6. There's no 6 out there, so we could use that as a wild. Yeah. I'll use the move as a wild. There's no 6 out there. And I will move one of these. One of these here. Okay, and then I will place my gem out. And I think I'm going to split the 1s. Yep, I split the 1s. Should go off for the majority, maybe. 3. I think I'll get more points with this, though. Now, you know what? I got the time for that. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to claim the majority. Alright, back to me. Last turn of the game. Okay, so what was I going to do here now? I was going to spin a 5 to a 4. Is that what I'm going to do? Yes. I'm going to spin the 5 to I'm going to spin the 5 using it as a wild. Okay, and we're going to move it to a 4, which I get the majority of. Okay, and then using the Queen's favor, we're going to place another gem out there. And for my last turn, I will should go for the majority of the blue. And if Jen was paying attention, she would have picked blue. I wasn't, though. All right. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Or do I want to go out here? It doesn't make sense to take the tile, but I can see what the last move Jen's going to make is and use it that way. But nah, I want the points, so I'll go here. Back to Jen. Jen's last turn. Okay, so she has a spin 3 or a spin 4. And she's going to use the spin 4 to spin it back to a 3. So she could get her points back. Alright, and she's going to place her final guy out here to get to 5 points. I think actually she would probably have done that. I would have probably done that too. Alright, so that is the end of the game. Now we will go through the last Queen's favor and then add up all the points. So here we go. First we're going to recall these guys. I'm going to go here. Okay, now we go in the Queen's favor. Nobody busted on 1. Thought they would, but they didn't. 2, 4. We're going to check. 2, 4, 5. No. Alright, so that didn't happen. No wilting. Alright, majority on 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points. Really should have split that difference with Jen. Over to the 3 sector. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. Over to the 4 sector, we have 1, 2, 3. And then go over to the board here. So we got 2, 4, 5. We got 10 points. Finally, the mines. See, blue 1. So he gets 5. Jen gets 3. Like I said, now we add up the points. Okay, so Jen has 20, 40. 50, 60, 9, 72, 77, 6, 70 for me, so I lose. 70 for me, I lose as usual. Jen's usually better at these games anyway, even when I'm playing myself against each other. So that is how The Last Garden is played. Stay tuned for what me thinks. Alright, it's time for me thinks. What me thinks of The Last Garden. Let's start off with, I am very impressed with the betting aspect of this game, especially with the two-player. In my experience, it's really not worked in many games. Isle of Skye, I think, is the only one I played. I think Isle of Skye, yeah, where that betting thing actually worked with two players. It's normally not a go for two players. But it worked very well in this. I was actually very surprised how well it did work. Kind of has. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's get the negatives out. Let's bring Grumps out. Let's get the negatives out. Grumps. We're gonna get the negatives out of the way. One of the negatives for Grumps is the artwork. I know this is subjective to people. To me, I could see where they were going. They were going for that post-apocalyptic feel, the drab. There's no greenery, there's no color, blah, blah, blah. I get it. And it does work. You got the primitive artwork in the sectors, and the building and all. Most of the artwork I found is actually in the rule book, and what is there is, I do like the artwork in the rule book. I like how the queen looks and her little robotness, with the metal tree. But the board itself is just, it's dull to me. I see what they were going for, though. The gems, they do bring out a lot of color in that, So I guess that kind of makes it pop. So they want to keep it kind of neutral. I see it. I see what they were going for. For me, it's a little kind of a miss. The graphic design, on the other hand, is very well done. You could tell what is the Queen's favor was a gem. Once you get used to the symbols, you can figure them out pretty quickly. One thing I do not like, and this is in most, there is no player aid on the back of the rulebook or player aid, card in general. It's always a pet peeve of mine. I think there should be a player aid, even though this is not a very difficult game to learn. The first game or two, it's nice to have this, especially with new players. You can pass it around and say, this is what this symbol means, or they can look at the book while somebody else is taking their turn. Okay, minor qualms. I think that's all the negatives, right, Grumps? Another minor thing, this is a Kickstarter. The player boards weren't mentioned in the rule book. And the bag, it's, I can see the hold the gems, and it's a cool thing, but this confused me a little bit until I realized what they were. But when I first got it, it's a minor thing. It's my own fault. I'm heavily medicated a lot of time. Me and Nurse Mary Jane go back a long ways. The rule book itself, very easy to read, nicely laid out. My only qualm, like I said, there's nothing on the back for the rules. I get it. The Kickstarters, they like to put the backers and the designers and everybody involved on the back. I understand that, but again, I like a play read. Let me get my handy dandy notebook. Again, me and Dr. Mary Jane. Or did I say Nurse Mary Jane? I can't remember now. See, that quick? I'm having a really bad week still. Alright. The robotness, I like that each one is a different shape. You could identify them not only by color but by shape. Like I said, the cubes are nice and chunky. I could pick them up most days when my hands want to work with me. Like I said, the bidding aspect of it, I've only played this with two players. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. I should. I just haven't had a chance to get it to 3 or 4. Another qualm, as I'm on that, it with two players, and again, I don't know what the other player counts because I haven't played them. Most good worker placement games that I've played, there's a tightness to the board. There's a feel like I just need one more worker, to place out there, or I needed one more spot that got blocked. It's a little tighter. This, I kind of never felt that tension of I'm going to run out of a space to put my worker. So that's kind of a negative for me. But that being said, unlike some other worker placement games, there's a lot of ways you can mitigate if you don't get the space you want, or that mitigating the first player downside, which I'll get in a minute. Most worker placement has, but it just didn't feel tight to me at 2 players. Again, it might have 3 or 4. I don't know. Unfortunately, I just couldn't get it to the table with a 3 or 4 player game. I think there's a lot for the level of players I have to get it once. I'm sure after a game or 2 they would pick it up with no problem. Probably after the first round. But I didn't want to overwhelm them with something this early in the stage and get it a little sour on the hobby. All right. But I think this would be a good next step game, not a gateway or entry level, next step game. Going back to the gameplay, I liked, like I said, most worker placement games, the first player gets screwed, basically, because the last player usually has the advantage because the first player threw their cards out on the table. Basically, before the end of the round, the last player has an opportunity to, block or mitigate some things. In this game, they did that by the first player could actually go up here to the lab in the first spot and be the last placed, or one of the last placed workers, okay? Or they could be the last worker up there in the bonus section and be able to be the actual last person to place a worker, okay? Along with that, they get that special bonus of dropping a gem anywhere they want once a round, which is cool. It kind of, it gives you a little bit more incentive to be first. Not that you really have an incentive, a choice. You're stuck with it at one point in the game, sometimes twice, depending on how many players you play. All right. The cards, like I said, I do like. The bonuses can bounce off of the robot cards, the program cards. The bonuses aren't great. I mean, this one is probably the one I use the most in the games I played. The placing or moving two of a one color gem, or 2 gems instead of 1, rather, or this one, the multiple ones. It's rated. I use this one. Again, that's luck of the draw, or if you can't mitigate it, what you're doing with the cards. Again, they do have the wild card if the pips just don't work your way out there in the sectors. I do like that, and that you do have, 1 extra card, so you have 1 extra option to program. You're not just stuck. So along with having an extra card, they do have the wild card option there. So you have some ways to mitigate the program cards. I haven't played too many programmable games, 2, maybe 3. They weren't really a big hit on it, and this isn't heavy into the programming like some of the other games I played. So that was one of my concerns with the game, but it really didn't turn out to be a concern. I don't find the programming to be that bad. The worker placement, with the cards, there's 18 of them. If you got a memory, and you're not a doctor like I am, you could probably math out who has what card if, it's a full player count. Even at the lower counts, there's like a 2-player game. There's always 8 cards out there in the deck. 3-player game, etc. There's a few cards, so you can kind of gauge, I guess, what's out there. Same with the Queen's favorite tokens. They're hidden. If you have the memory for it, you can math that out and see what player has what. I can never remember that. I never would even try, actually. So I'm going to put my handy-dandy notebook away and finish this up, because my alarm just went off. I have something else to do. what me thinks about the game. Like I said, the negatives very minor, nothing game breaking. The artwork, it's subjective. The components, they're Kickstarter components. You can tell good quality cars, the meeples. The insert is formed, which I think is great for one-off games. Like I said before, not so much for games that have expansions. It'll be your game. Do what you want with the insert. The overall gameplay, I do like it. I like I said, I do think this is cool. The Queen's Favor, the betting thing, and even the wilting thing, which I don't think I mentioned so far in this. That's like a mini game in itself. It's the back and forth between players. Again, only 2-player game. That's what I played. It's the back and forth. Like, do I push them over with the wilting and collect the points? In the one sector. Do I piggyback? Off the majority. Do I piggyback off of one sector with another guy with that? 1 point for every 2 gems instead of 1 for 1, as in the first row. And then this guy here, the mines, the overall majority race. That's cool, and it's a boost with the points. First player gets 5 points. So that's cool. This I like. It's ever evolving and ever changing. The pips of the dice are flipping. The die. The gems are moving back and forth. People are trying to claim it at times, getting that extra point. It's ever evolving, and I do like that. It feels kind of cool, and I did overall enjoy this game. I believe Jen did too. She didn't say she didn't like it. So that's all. That's what me thinks of The Last Garden, and you can find that in the BGG Store. I gotta pronounce this right. Sorry, Scott. I know I go BBG sometimes. Work thing. Okay, you could get this at the BGG Store, and anything behind me at the games behind me. Not Quacks or the crew, but you could get the accessories for it, the geek picks for it. Real heavy duty, cool stuff. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Get gaming, have fun. See you next time. Keep your head up. Get me out. If you want to support BGG, go to their website and become a user. Or you could go to the Board Game Geek YouTube website and like their video. Click subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell notification button. Or you could go to the Board Game Geek Store, where you'll find board games, promos, accessories, and more. All I am saying is give Scott some cash.